much, much better. I mean, one cannot complain. The lamas themselves, the teachers, have all been very, very encouraging and helpful. And things do change. Buddhism always talks about natakpa. It always talks about impermanence, but change, it resists like anything. But things are changing. Subject, emotions. Namaste. In the movie, I think this is all the same person. In the movie, you started crying when talking about your Rinpoche. After practicing for so long, should the emotions not be getting less? No. Does Buddhism help with painful losses and changes? Does a Buddhist still feel big pain? Thanks for your answer. Well, I mean, I have to say, in the traditional accounts at the time of the Buddha, when he passed into Mahaparinirvana, all those who were not enlightened cried their eyes out, and those who were arahats were aloof. So that shows you I'm not an arahat. Of course, the attachment is, you know, is a cause of great suffering. But on the other hand, as ordinary human beings, especially when you lose someone who has been your guide on the spiritual path, and at the age of 48 he suddenly drops dead. I mean, I always felt like I was in a vast desert, and my guide had just left. Where to go? And so even now, you know, I mean, Rinpoche is the dearest thing in my heart, undoubtedly. And of course, one should love and revere one's teacher. I mean, he's more important because he's, you know, it's lifetime after lifetime, even more important in a way than your mother and father, or just for this lifetime. The heart guru is your heart. But anyway, nonetheless, does Buddhism help with painful losses and changes? Yes, because it emphasizes so much that everything is impermanent, that things do change, that we all do die. I mean, in Buddhism, the Buddha himself said one of the most important meditations we could do is a daily meditation on death, not to make us, you know, pessimistic or anxious, but first of all to recognize that at this moment I'm not dead, and so I have this opportunity to practice. Who knows, tomorrow I might be dead. This opportunity is gone, so we cannot waste this time thinking, oh well, I'll practice when I get older, or when I've got enough money to, you know, go into retreat, or when this or when that. The only time we have is now. If we lose it tomorrow, I mean, as we're saying, you know, just being on the roads here, you know, you go up, you never know. Is this, you know, we arrive at our destination or arrive in our next life, you know, I mean, you never know. And so that sense that any time we could go should keep us alert and appreciative of the fact that right now we're not dead, right now we do have this precious human life, and therefore we shouldn't waste it. We should make the most of it while we've got it, because we don't know when we're going to lose it. It also helps us to remember when we do lose people that we love, that this is the nature of life. Everybody loses people they love. I mean, there's that famous story of Kisagotami, who lost her only child, her baby, and because of past tragedies in her life, this was the last straw for her. And so she was completely like crazy, and she went to the Buddha and she said, I heard you're a great master. Can you please bring my child back to life? And the Buddha said, yes, I will do that, but I need a handful of mustard seed taken. And she said, oh, mustard seed, right, I'll go to the village. And he said, mustard seed from a house where no one has died. And she said, okay. And so she goes to each house and she said, look, I need some mustard seed. And they said, sure. And they said, oh, but has anyone died in this house? And they said, you're joking. You know, the living are few, the dead are so many. And she went from house to house to house, and they said, yes, my child died, my parents died, my brother died, my uncle died, this one died, that one died. Until by the time she finished, she recognized, okay. So then she went, she buried the child, and she became a nun. Actually, she became an arhati. But the story is exactly, this is what the Buddha wanted her to understand, that death is everybody dies. As the Buddha said, the one thing certain about life is death. And again, this is not to make us feel, you know, downhearted, but to remind us, first of all, not to cling so much, to accept that we can only hold people very lightly, allowing them to flow. If you hold like this, then one artist, Lunik, he is an Australian artist, and any Australians here, any Aussies here will know Lunik. And he has a thing on how to love. And one of them is, he said, you hold the object of affection like a day-old chicken. Very gently. Because if you go like that, no chicken. So it's also that, it's not the person, the loss which causes the grief, it's the attachment which causes the grief. Our clinging mind, which won't accept that everything is impermanent.